Good morning, how is everyone? Hi, May. Apologies on the delay, I just forgot I had to log out of one computer to log into the other one. Good morning, Ivy. Hi, Noddy. How's Hong Kong today, Noddy? All right, so we'll make a start. I'll just put these blinds down here because it's a bit bright, isn't it? All right, so hopefully everyone is well and healthy. We got usual suspects, that's good to see. All right. Before we start off, you would have seen too that the marks have been released for the first one. So hopefully, hello, how are you? Morning. Hopefully you've had a look at those comments. There's comments on the documents itself, and there's also comments on the summary as well, with a bit of what we call feed forward, which is preparation for the next assessment, which is what we're talking about today as well. So make sure you read through all of that. If you're not sure about any of the comments or what was meant or anything that was written down, make sure you let me know either on Slack or on email. That would be fine. All right. First of all, let's get your microphones on. We'll wake ourselves up with a bit of a clap. So hang on, not yet. Too quick. So let's get our microphones on really quickly. Go. Getting there, ready? And in 3, 2, 1. Good job, well done. I'm sure the people in your house must think, what are they doing? Why are they doing that? Good morning, Tay, how are you? We've just started, so you haven't missed anything yet. So we're in week 7. Are we week 7? Yes, it's week 7, isn't it? Oh. How fast is this semester going? It's very fast, very, very fast. And we're already into the next assessment item already. All right, to get us warmed up a bit, we might do this. We'll do it on the chat because I know you've all been working hard. Think about what was the name of the city or town where you spent your last birthday, and tell me something about the birthday. I'm going to add something into this. What was something good about your last birthday? That's what I want you to think about. Give you a couple of minutes to think about it, and then we'll get going. You can either use the audio and tell me about it, or you can type it. If you want to type it, you can start typing now. So I'll give you a couple of minutes until 10 past 10, and we'll go from there. All right, how are we going? Do you want to talk about it or do you want to do it in the chat? I'm going to give you a vote for this because I like to hear you as well. So 1 minute, I'll give you a choice. Do you want to talk or type? Oh, we're typing already, are we? That's all right. You can do either. That's all good. Do you want to talk or type? Just let me know. Let's start having a look. Ivy said, Hong Kong, just like a normal day, having birthday cake at home. Yeah, I like Hong Kong. I miss going to Hong Kong. Hong Kong was fun. It's a good place. I would like to take my girls back to Hong Kong. So I never got to go to Disney or Ocean World. So. I
was so sick when I was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy myself there, but I was in Hong Kong.
But I liked Mongkok and I liked Causeway Bay and, you know, all that sort of stuff, all the shopping and stuff. That was fun. Not a big fan of Central, but Causeway Bay was cool.
Have you traveled for the
last? The last time we traveled was just before COVID kicked off. We went to New Zealand for 2 weeks. And so COVID was happening, but nothing had happened. And so we got back in January and then it sort of kicked off in March. So that was our last trip. Yeah.
I think it's the same for pretty much.
Yeah, everyone has a few people have gone places I've noticed, but yeah, we haven't yet. Hamish says, I spent it in Melbourne and nothing really was good because we were still in lockdown. Oh, yeah. Are you based in Melbourne, Hamish? Let me know. Melbourne had it rough. They had it really rough. Rochelle says, in Sri Lanka, oh, you're in Brisbane. Okay, cool. I was in my country, Sri Lanka. I was just home because my country was on lockdown. The only good part was we got a dog. That's excellent. How's your dog? What's your dog's name? Was it a puppy or a rescue dog? Bruno. Excellent. You'll have to show us a picture one day. Ah, you're in Brisbane. Yeah, that'd suck. Having to go to Melbourne and getting locked down. That's really average. Tay says, in Seoul, preparing for my exam in the study room, my friends came to me and they congratulated me. Oh, that's nice. That's good. Nice. Noddy, Saikung. Yep. On a mountain. Yeah, that's full of mountains around there, isn't it? I know about where that is. Nice. Jakarta. Not the type of person who likes to celebrate birthdays. So just with family. Dinner with family. Yeah, that's always nice too. I've got to have a 50th this year. Would you believe? Mine, not someone else's. So that's a bit of a shock.
You haven't turned 50 yet?
No, in June. In June.
20 years.
Huh?
20 years of June. Is it 20?
How'd you know that?
Is it correct?
Yeah. How did you know that? How did you guess my birthday?
My birthday is 10 years of June, so I was like, yeah, I know.
You just freaked me out then. How did you know that? How did you know my birthday, you stalker?
Oh my god.
Huh?
Okay, I couldn't believe I got it.
There you go. Yeah, it's the 20th.
Yeah, because my parents' birthday is 10 years of June.
Well, everyone's birthday is the 20th, probably.
All the
cool people. All the cool people. Birthdays in June. It's all right. I know. 50. Oh, I'll be feeling old then. No, I don't feel old.
Yeah.
It's all right. Yeah, that's all right. It's sort of a bit surprising. May says, I turned 18. Oh, now you're making me feel really old, May. Bloody hell. Really? Oh, I should have been recording this too. Hang on. Just a bit late on the recording. Apologies. We're in week 7 for the workshop and we're just talking about where you spent your last birthday. So you'll see in the chat some of that coming up. So May in Hiroshima. I've been to Hiroshima. Unfortunately, legal age to drink in Japan is 20. Yes, but you can go and buy beer out of vending machines. So there's no excuse really, is there? So I just invited my friends to my house and had a little party. Nice. I went to that island off Hiroshima. I forget the name of it, where they've got the deer and they mug you. You might know what that's called. I forgot what it's called. We had a look around there. It was quite nice. Levine, in my hometown. Which is your hometown, Levine? Let us know. Having a buffet dinner. A buffet dinner. Oh, my girls love a buffet. They go nuts. Every time there's a buffet breakfast, they're all about it. Love it. Yuki, in Tokyo, went to a delicious Chinese restaurant with my family and celebrated for me. Yep, lovely. Yuki, Qingdao. Last bit, there was interning in a Chinese company, spent with my colleagues. That could be a bit wild too, couldn't it? Having drinks with your colleagues sometimes. Jiangsu. Ah, cool. Excellent. Has everyone contributed? I think nearly everyone. If you haven't, put it in, give you a minute or so. I don't know what I'll be doing for my birthday. Oh, no, I do. We're going down the coast for a week. That's what we're doing. Broad Beach. Broad Beach is our place to go to. We like Broad Beach because we've got a few restaurants we like and a few places we like, and we like how we just go park the car and don't move the car for the week and just walk everywhere. And we're just across the road from Pacific Fair, and it's nice. It's good. Just chill out. Yeah, second week of school holidays. So that's why we're going down. So that'll be nice. All right. Let's continue. So today we're going to talk about getting your 1.2 started. So if you haven't started, today's the day you get to start on it as well. And I know that there's a lot of assessment going on at the moment, so we just want to make it a bit easier for you and lead you into it in an easier way. So that's what we want to focus on today. If there's any questions about 1.2, we can deal with them on the fly today. And we'll also give you a few next steps and reminders. All right, announcement wise. That's not the date. Don't worry about that. Thought I deleted that one and it went away. So let's have a look at the date. So that date's not right. Obviously, it's not August. I'll go and grab you the date. That slide I thought was deleted. The essay is due week 8. So end of next week, which is Friday, 11:59. So the thing to think about too is that you've already started on this really anyway, because you've already got your discussion points started. You've researched a bit?
Yeah, I've started my research.
Okay, that's good. Have you started your research yet? Yep, good, excellent. We'll do a quick poll to see how everyone else is going. Now, if you haven't started, that's fine because you're starting today. And as a general rule, if you haven't started something, just start and just ask questions, right? Don't sort of freak out about it or give yourself a hard time about it. We were just talking about that before. Don't fight with yourself. You work how you work, and that's how it goes. So don't have a fight with yourself about that. Have you started your A1.2, your essay? Yes or no? If you haven't, that's fine. Only I can see this for you guys online. A couple of you haven't. Okay. Good-o. All right, well, today's the day, as I said, so we'll get started on that. So to start with academic skills. So some of you have probably covered some of these before, but we'll just give you a bit of a recap for it. So when you're writing an essay at university, it's not like writing anything for marketing. You're not writing a brochure. You're not telling me a story. It's not creative writing. It's a little bit different in terms of its style and its structure and the skills involved with it. It took me a while to grasp writing at university, and when I was doing university, you didn't have as many resources as you do now, which is unfortunate for me. So I was a very flowery sort of writer that was very sort of marketing style. Now for an academic, that's no, you don't write like that. So the best way to see how to write essays or see how to write what you need to write is to have a look at examples of, and then you can start to develop your own voice and get an idea of how things are explained, how things are actually written. The thing about writing to remember too is just start. People want to write the final version out of their head straight away, and that's not how it works. So the first thing you want to do is just put down what's in your head. If you get that down first, then you can see what you've got and you can see what you don't know. And what you don't know, you can go research and you can find out some more information, you can see what you've got. Impact of virtual reality on the gaming industry. Absolutely. Was that one of your discussion topics, Yuki? If it was, then absolutely. So when we talk about writing, the act of writing is rewriting. All right? It's not write one version, that's it. It's writing it, it's checking it, it's editing it, it's rewriting some parts, it's synthesizing the information, it's proofreading it, it's checking it. Sometimes it's redrafting it completely, depending on what you need to do. But don't speed up the editing process. Don't speed up the proofreading process. That's where the better versions of your writing comes out. For researching, you need a bit of a plan. So we've got the template and we'll show you the template and we can have a look through that first. One moment, I'll grab that for you. So in 1.2, you've got two things. You've got the task sheet and you've got 1.2 template. I'll open that file, I'll just share that for you. All right, can you all see that? All right. I'm going to talk you through the template and you make notes as you need to and you ask questions as you need to. All right. Every assignment you ever do should have a title page. All right. That's standard. Any submission at all. Always helps to put your name in. Helps even more to spell my name correctly. All right. That's always bonus points. Word count is always good to include. Make sure you should in here have your disclaimer as well about, you know, the one that says about this is my own work. Make sure you put that in. The introduction. This is really stepped out for you, so you're really lucky in this regard. So let's look. Your introduction needs 3 sections. An introductory statement with the broad topic sentence. So what is it that you're going to look at in a sentence? Now, it's hard to write that straight off. So if you need a couple of sentences to write that to start, that's okay, but then try and edit it down to 1 sentence. But you might need to see what's in your head first. So if you've got some ideas about it, you could put it down now actually, and just we'll come back to this. We'll go through it and we'll come back. Then you've got a thesis statement. So 2 to 3 sentences writing about some of the main points. So what is it that you're going to try and look at? What is it that you're going to try and investigate? Or what are you going to be researching? That's the thesis question or the thesis statement. It's much easier to write when you've already completed your research and body paragraphs, but you can have a go at it, right? It's a general direction is what you want to have at the moment. You want a bit of a guide as to what you can achieve. Summary of your analysis. You can't really do that until you've done the main body, but you can have a go at these first 2 points. This can be a list of main topics, but don't do them as a list. Just write them in paragraphs. I don't want dot points. So an example could be, the analysis will explore gamification in the creative industries through performing research into the opportunities and benefits of this creative technology, followed by risks and impacts to creative practitioners and related industries. This sentence is really, really long, by the way. So I'd probably break it after technology. I'd probably break it here and go, this will be followed. That'll probably make more sense. This will be followed by the risks and impacts to creative practitioners and related industries. Then I would stop that there and I'd go, then I'd say, probably do this. Further and future implications of this technology will be discussed. Something like that. So this analysis will explore gamification in the creative industries through performing research into the opportunities and benefits of this creative technology. This will be followed by the risks and impacts to creative practitioners and related industries. Further and future implications of this technology will be discussed in regards to the implications for creative products and and how they are produced. Let's do that. And how they are produced and applied. Something like that would be a good start. But try not to have your sentences too long. Some of these sentences are really long. So you don't want to have them ultra short with only 4 words in them, but you don't want to have them go across 10 lines either. Okay, have a break. You can see where I've separated those up here and here. So this point here, you don't need to use direct quotes. We would prefer you, and I'll tell you why in a sec. We prefer to, No, don't. No, you don't need to use direct quotes. So the better way of doing it is to use paraphrasing. So when you read something, and I think I've made this note in a lot of people's, we'll talk about the feedback too at this moment in time, because this talked about research as well. So I didn't mark anyone down on not paraphrasing correctly or not referencing correctly in the first assessment, because I think there was a little bit of confusion as to whether you should have referenced or not. So I've given you the benefit of the doubt on that. That's all fine. But let's just clear this up now. For this essay, you have to reference everything. All right? Referencing is not an option. It's not something you can choose not to do. You have to do it. You have to do it properly. So what we're expecting you to do is to paraphrase, which means you read what you want, what you think is interesting, then you think about what that means and what you want to say about it, then say it in your own words. Then you put the reference. All right? That's how you do it. Don't try and just swap out a couple of words here and there in the structure, because that will still be the original work. Have you guys seen the QUT paraphrasing video? Have I shown you that? I have. You've seen it. Have you guys online seen that? Some of you have, I know. Have you guys seen the QUT paraphrasing video? No. Okay. Let's do that now, because it's important. Let me dig it up 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute. Okay. can you have a look at that video and tell me when you finish, please? I'll put up a poll so you can answer.
How to paraphrase, or in other words, taking someone else's words and ideas, putting them in your own words while keeping the meaning and citing the source. In this presentation, I'm going to show you 3 ways of paraphrasing: the wrong way to do it, a way that's acceptable, and the best way to paraphrase. To paraphrase, we start with a source of information. You may have found an awesome article for your assignment. For example, I might be writing an assignment on sustainability in the fashion industry in Australia, and I found this great article by Alice Payne. Within it, I located the perfect quote about how designers have an impact on the industry. My quote is, "There are opportunities for Australian designers to have a positive effect through selecting textiles and finishes with a lower environmental and social impact." While I could just use the direct quote, I want to paraphrase this so I keep the direct quotes in my assignment to a minimum, but still have excellent sources for my argument. Firstly, I will show you how not to paraphrase and let you know why this is a bad way of doing it. Some people can get the impression that paraphrasing is simply modifying the words. You might be tempted to use a thesaurus to find a synonym. Let's see what happens when I do this to my quote. The words that are underlined in the first paragraph have been modified and are shown as underlined in the second paragraph, but with new words. This isn't paraphrasing, as my new version is too similar to the old quote. You can compare the words and see that there's not much change. In fact, here you can see that at least half of the words are still the same as the original quote. These small phrases are still Payne's original words, so I can't use this as a legitimate paraphrase. I would be better off keeping the original quote. One of the main problems with using a thesaurus is that you need to be careful with how the meaning can change when a new word is used. Often, a reader can tell that you have just right-clicked and selected a synonym because it just doesn't sound right in your assignment. Secondly, I'll show you a way that is acceptable to use. Remember, it's an okay way of paraphrasing, but it isn't sophisticated. A good tip for trying to paraphrase a quote is to change the sentence structure. When doing this, you'll need to modify some of the words and phrases so little combinations of words don't match the original quote. This is what happens when I apply this method to my quote. It's okay, I could use it in my assignment. To compare between the 2 versions, you can see that I have changed selecting textiles and finishes to choosing finishes and materials. You can see that this bit of information is now at the start of my paraphrase, whereas it was previously near the end of the quote. I have modified lower environmental and social impact to less harmful for society and the environment. And again, this information has moved in my paraphrase from where it was positioned in the original quote. I've modified, there are opportunities for Australian designers to have a positive effect to Australian designers have the opportunity to positively affect, and I've put this information near the end of my paraphrase. Lastly, I will show you a great way to paraphrase. It builds on the techniques for okay paraphrasing. The biggest tip is to use your own words. Try and explain the information in the quote to someone else and how it relates to your assignment. This will help keep the style of your writing consistent so that it reads clearly and flows well. Next, take some time to really think about what the author meant. That quote probably sounds great because the information is clear and concise. A great strategy is to map out the information. Here I've taken Payne's quote and made a mind map of concepts, so I can reflect on the information rather than worrying about moving the words around in the quote. Let's take a look at what happens when I paraphrase using this method. It's much more sophisticated than the previous way of paraphrasing because I've really considered the meaning of Payne's information. I've combined different bits of information in Payne's quote into the first part of my paraphrased sentence. The last part of my paraphrase sentence elaborates on the simple phrase, selecting textiles and finishes, from Payne's original quote. What's great about my paraphrase is it opens up the topic for my writing, and it is clear for the reader that I'm going to discuss what these positive flow-on effects are. There are two options for citing the author within my paraphrase. I can make the author an active part of the sentence and start with Payne suggests, or maybe Payne argues, or potentially, furthermore, research by Payne indicates that. Alternatively, I can leave the author in brackets with the year and page number at the end of the sentence. Both of these methods are acceptable as I'm attributing the information with a citation. You may like to make use of both of these methods in your writing to vary the way your sentences begin. Remember, it's okay to use technical terms, job titles or roles, and common vocabulary without quotation marks in your paraphrase. However, unique phrases and special terms must be quoted. Great paraphrasing takes time, and you'll need to have a few goes to get it right. Make sure you leave enough time when drafting your assignment to incorporate sophisticated paraphrasing. Lastly, if you need help, just ask. Use SiteRight to check how to cite and reference using different methods, or just come and see us at the library, either in person at the help desk or online.
All right, we'll just wait for everyone to finish. Just if you finished, answer the poll for me so I know that you're done. We'll just wait for everyone to be done. All right, are we nearly done? Hamish, Tay, Levine, that's good. May, are you good? Noddy, let me know. Okay. Yuki, you good? All right, a couple of points to talk about from the video. The part, thank you, Yuki, where they said you can use terms in job roles, so unique terms. So what they were talking about there, if you're talking about augmented reality, don't change the term augmented reality to something else. Pardon me. You should use the right words to describe the right things. Don't change those. For instance, if you're talking about students, don't change it to people that go to uni a lot, right? It wouldn't make any sense. You're actually making it worse. So make sure you use the right words to explain the right things. But the biggest tip there was to make sure you understand what it is that you want to incorporate, and then just do it like you've explained it to someone else. What is it that you want to say is the real key to that. There were two ways of referencing, and it said you could do author first, or you could do idea first and put the author at the end. I want you to do the author at the end. I want you to be idea prominent. So talk about it, then put the author at the end. The other thing you can look at too, and I'll find this for you, is a resource called Manchester Academic Phrase Bank. So I'll just grab that link for you. And you should save this link off somewhere so you know where it is. So when you have a look at that, it gives you a whole bunch of different things, different sentence starters. So if you're comparing things, or if you're discussing things, or if you're writing about findings or whatever, there's a whole bunch of, I'll show you, there's a whole bunch of really interesting starters. Just let me share that for you. Hang on. I'll just share the whole screen. Window. There we go. So you can see that. So this is Academic Phrase Bank. So if you're being critical, click on that one. And it gives you a whole bunch of different ways to start it. So like these claims have been strongly contested in recent years by a number of writers. So they're really good ways to get started on something. Introducing problems and limitations, a whole bunch of thought starters there. Sentence starters, sorry. Explaining causality, so linking things together. How to compare them, see? So there's lots of different ways you can do things. Compare and contrast. Introducing similarities. So the reason why you want to use Academic Phrase Bank is it introduces variety to your writing style, so that you're not writing claim 2022 suggests every time you say something, right? And you shouldn't be doing that anyway. But this gives you some really good starters for those sentences. And you won't get in trouble for doing that, because it's not plagiarism to just use these sentence starters. That's okay. But make sure you save this somewhere where you can come back to it, so that you can have a look at it in more detail. Now, let's have a look at the template again. One moment. All right. So we want you to paraphrase. The other thing about paraphrasing, which is a good thing to realize, is if you were using direct quotes, it's hard to integrate direct quotes into the flow of your essay, because it's written in a different style mostly. It's written for a different purpose. It's hard to make that fit. When you're paraphrasing, you can make whatever you want fit, because you're writing it and you're describing it. So it'll actually fit into what you're talking about and the flow of what you're talking about a lot better. So that's another reason to use paraphrasing for all of your assessment. Body paragraph. So the first one, 300 words. This one is about one or two creative technologies you're analyzing. Well, you're just doing one actually, you're not doing two. So it's just the one. I've got to update that. You're analyzing with opportunities and benefits for the area or areas of the creative industries you focused on. Introduce it. How is it used and applied? Give some examples. This is about opportunities and benefits. So you're only focusing on one area, okay? The one discussion point you were talking about. So this is about opportunities and benefits. What are they? How will it impact those that are using it? What are the risks? How will it impact those using it with the risks? 3 talks about what are the next steps in the application of the technology? Are there any further implications? And what impacts will these have? I'll come to the question in a minute. Conclusion, then you can link back to your thesis statement. So the conclusion and the introduction work together, right? The introduction sets out what you're going to do. The conclusion recaps what you've done, all right? So they need to match. Not in terms of exactly the words, but they need to relate to each other. So this will link the last paragraph to your first, perhaps by reiterating a word or a phrase you used in the beginning. So it'll be talking about the thesis statement. So what were you trying to achieve? Have you achieved it? And how did you achieve it? Overall, what's the tech and what is it? Where is it taking us? Finish with a future focused statement. So a future focused statement is what could be researched next? What could be discussed next? what would you do next? No direct quotes or citations in your conclusion. So no paraphrasing or anything in that. It doesn't mean still, take words from somewhere and don't reference it. It just means write it all in your own words. Don't paraphrase in there. The reference list always starts on the next page. Don't put it up here. Put it on the next page. This is where you enter the reference list. APA style referencing, minimum of 5 academic sources. So that's the minimum, right? So how long is this one? 2,000 words, I think. Is it? 1,500? 1,200. Okay. So somewhere between 8 and 12 references would be about right. So make sure that you research widely, and it's reference in terms of what you've used, not what you've just read and decided not to use. Some examples there for you, but go to SiteRight to check. All right, let's come back, see what questions we have. Got a problem. According to the template, I found that I've written a very long body paragraph, 2 pros and cons with over 300 words. That's okay. It's a guide, right? That's all right, Ivy. Don't worry about that. May I reduce the word count of body paragraph 1, maybe about 100 words, introduce what is VR to ensure my paragraph 2 content. Yeah, that's a good idea. And it's a guide, right? So as long as you're not, being too vague on the first paragraph, that would be all right. Good. Rochelle asks, the creative tech means the area we chose, which creative industry it impacted, for example, in my case, fashion. Yes, correct, Rochelle. So we only want you to do one area. If you see anywhere where it says 2, I will make a note and update that template so you don't get confused. It is only one area. So whatever your discussion topic was, do your essay based out of that. I don't want 2. It was 2. It used to be 2. But it's not anymore. That's right, Rochelle. My pleasure. Any other questions while we're talking about that? Pop it in the chat or jump online if you want to talk to me about it. If you're good, give me a thumbs up and we'll move on. Thanks, Levine. Thanks, Tay. Haven't seen you yet, Tay. You're in Brisbane now, aren't you? You'll have to come in and say good day one day. All right. I'm just looking why he's put this in here. All right, I think I know where he's going with this. Okay, submission. What we want to tell you about submission is make sure you know the day and the time that this is due. Also remember that you have access, and I'll just double check before I say it, just in case. Yes, it's eligible for assignment extension. I just wanted to check just in case. Magically, I wasn't right. Make sure that you know when the due date is and when the due time is, and don't wait for the last couple of minutes to do it. All right. Now, if I was you, I would aim for the first submission point. So whatever it is, that Friday, is it? Yep, the Friday. Aim for that, knowing that you have that 48-hour buffer, right? Or that extension period that you can apply for if you need it, right? If you need it, use it. What I don't want you to do, if you make a mistake, right, and you've submitted it 5 minutes after the deadline on Friday, you need to apply for that 48-hour extension. Otherwise, you will get 0. All right. If you are running late and you need until that Sunday, apply for that 48-hour extension. But remember, and this is how this works. So the extension is only an extension of the deadline, right? It's not an extension of your deadline. So if you apply on Sunday afternoon thinking, oh, I'll get another 2 days from Sunday, you won't, right? The deadline for the extensions will be that Sunday night. That's for everyone. So if you applied 5 minutes towards the end of Sunday night, that's all you'd get. Make sense? Yeah? So if you need it, use it. If you don't need it, great. But have it as a buffer because life happens, right? I've used extensions before because things happen. So just be aware and make sure you're smart about how you use it. So it's worth 35%. So the first one was worth 15%. So if you didn't do as well as you had hoped, that's okay. You've still got time and you still have assessment to come that is worth a lot more to pick you up. Now, let me have a look for a sec. I'm going to go to the task sheet. Your point of truth for all your answers should be the task sheet. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. Pardon me. So essay is 1,000 to 1,200 words, which means you have a 10% 10% tolerance for it, which means it could go up to 1,320 or about 900. All right. Ivy, does that answer your question? Yes, it should stay within the 1,200 or between 900 and 1,320 is the range. That's words. So between 900 and 1,320, no more or no less. All right. Good. So make sure you submit in time. Make sure you submit the right document in previous semesters. You guys right? You got a question?
We're checking like if we got our grades.
You did.
Yeah, we're checking now.
Just make sure that you submit the right document, and you can check as well. Sometimes people get confused and they submit the wrong document to the wrong unit. That's happened. Make sure you check. So making a plan. We're going to give you a break in a minute. Actually, we'll introduce this and then we'll give you a break. So dot points your template. So we might do this as a bit of an exercise coming up. Go through, have a read of your discussion, and you need to basically populate the template with some general information to give you a bit of direction of what you can talk about. So it's basically making a plan, and you can write things to yourself to basically go, talk about this area as a bit of a structure to yourself. That would be a good idea. You can put quotes in to start, and this is going to make it messy, but that's okay. All right. You're not going to have it as a final. You just need to make sure you've got some information in there. Then have a go at writing the first draft. Don't delete anything in the first draft. Keep it all there. You can color code it if you want to, but just get some stuff out of your head, get it on the page. Do a bit of editing of the first draft, and then you can have a go at starting to tidy it up and see what gaps you've got that you need to go and find some more research. So there's a bit more to go between that and the final check, but that's the first starting point, is just populate the template with some information to get started with. So yeah, submission's the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot going on. Understanding the requirements. So read the task sheet. do your research, make a plan, do more research, write a draft, do more research, right? So you'll identify that there's information that you probably don't have or you need more of. You can go back and do more research. That's fine, okay? Whenever you find something you don't know about, ask yourself the question, what do I need to know about? And then go research it, right? Edit it, rewrite, whatever, proofread, then do the final check. So generally, academic essays are arguments. Now, they're not having an argument. They're not yelling at each other. It's basically putting together a position, basically, stating a position. So what are you trying to make a case for a particular point of view? But you need to justify that. So anything you say at this level of education, you need to justify. You are not the expert in this. You need to be reflecting other experts and showing that you understand what they've said and how it applies. That's what we want you to be doing, okay? It's not we're asking you to be an expert on it and, you know, I'm saying this, therefore it's right. No. You've identified and observed what other people have said and you are saying how that relates to the area. All right. Your thesis statement will take a while to get right. So we might start working on that in a moment. Just see how many more slides we've got in here before we have a break. Yeah, the thesis statement must be in the introduction, but we'll have a go at writing the thesis statement in a minute, or in the next session, sorry. So in this introduction, do the introduction last. The whole introduction. You can do parts of it early, but to finish it off, you would do it last because otherwise you don't know where you've been. You don't know what you've covered, right? It's like taking your holiday photos before you go. Yeah, you always change your introduction until the end because you don't know what you've written otherwise. Controlling the scope, what this means is like something like augmented reality is a massive area. So you might want to just limit what particular areas you're going to talk about. And it's good to state what the limitations of that are. It's better for me to understand that rather than going, well, why didn't you talk about this? And then you can tell me, oh, I didn't talk about this because. Don't write it like that, but you get the idea. Change the scope. We'll come back to this. I'll show you that. Oh, no, we won't. We'll do this now. So if we're focusing on AI and gamification, you could look at the outline of the tech, what the thesis statement is, explaining what the research says in 3 sentences, and followed by an overview of the essay. We might start with trying to make a thesis statement, just generally getting an idea of what you want to talk about. You won't be able to do what the research says yet, but you should be able to get at least the first idea out. Each paragraph must have a topic sentence. So what is this paragraph going to talk about? That's what the topic sentence is. It must relate to the thesis statement or the argument. So how is this paragraph going to take this argument further? How does it relate to this thesis or this question? How is this going to help it? How is it going to build on it? The rest of the paragraph supports your case as to what that topic sentence said and how it justifies it. They're building blocks that make the critical essay. Now, this is really important and I want you to make a note of it. Don't describe, analyze. So I don't want you just describing what people say. I want you to understand what people say, then apply it and analyze it. All right? You need to relate everything back to the thesis statement and the area. So something that people didn't get right, some of you didn't get right in the discussion topic was that you didn't talk about your creative area. You were talking about everything but. So some people were talking about, how it relates to a completely different industry than any of the creative industries. So you need to be aware of what we're asking you to do and making sure that you stay on focus. All right, not just talking about everything. Just talk about the creative industries, right? Which area you are going to be studying in. Which area are you interested in? Is it architecture? Is it fashion? Is it game design? Is it animation? What is it? And keep within those bounds. You don't want to go, oh, how it relates to airlines. That's not what we're talking about. And don't be so general that it doesn't tell you anything either. You want to actually get some focus on it. So you just want to say, oh, in general, it's this, this, and this. Well, no, that doesn't help us. Get more targeted and more focused than that. Paragraphs work best when the topic sentence is the first or second sentence in the paragraph. Try for the first. You can then announce the topic of the paragraph. Most common and useful is the TRI method. The topic, the restriction, and the illustration. So what is it you're talking about? How does that relate? Give us an example of how that works. So there we go. Topic sentence, what are you going to talk about? Define and clarify, so more detail, then back it up, theory and or example. If you want to do really well, do both for the theory and the example. Reference everything. If you get anything from anywhere else, reference it. All right, that's the rule. Deduction versus induction. Research shows that readers are better able to understand information when it's presented deductively. This means starting with a broad general proposition and moving to particulars. Induction works the other way, from specifics to a broad statement. So I had it explained, this was explained to me in grade 9 in biology, where the teacher said, when you want to try and understand something, it's like painting. You start with the frame and the border, right? Understanding where your limitations are, then you create the background, then you start adding in more detail. Same thing with writing. What area are we playing in? Where are our limitations and restrictions? What background do we need to understand? Then what detail do we put on over that? And we get deeper, 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 deeper. Same with your research. You start broad and then you narrow in to your focus area. We're going to do this. We'll do this in the next one. We'll come back to this. I'll give you a break now because we're at 11 o'clock. Come back at 10 past, so it won't give you long. 10 minutes roughly. I'll give you a quarter past. There we go. Quarter past 11, and we'll continue on. We'll stay here. Don't go to the other place yet. We'll stay here and we'll finish this off. We've got a couple more slides to go, and then we'll move on to the tutorial because we'll do this exercise. Okay, let's have a break. Quarter past 11, we'll continue.